Welcome to the BossUp Babe radio show, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Karissa Adkins. Karissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle. Karissa helps mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and creating massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What's up, queens? Hello, divas. What up, boss babes? It's your favorite health and fitness coach and the ultimate boss up babe, Karissa Adkins. And you are listening live, or maybe you're catching the recording, but either way, you're listening to the Boss Up Babe podcast show. Now, oh my gosh, you guys, I have got a guest that is going to just light the fire in your souls today. I'm so excited to be interviewing Miss Kaamna, and I told her ahead of time I was gonna butcher this, but I feel obligated to try. So Kaamna's last name is Bhojwani. Close. Yes, I'm gonna give her a chance, of course, to recorrect my moment there. But anyways, Kaamna is a thinker. Right? She's a performer. She's a facilitator. She is a mindbender who doesn't and won't take half-assed for any answer, and probably including in her own life. In my opinion, she is a total boss up babe, and she believes that most of the stories that you tell yourselves that they're now obsolete, right? They're irrelevant, or they're in someone else's voice. And I truly believe that too. I totally resonate with that. As a health and fitness and mindset expert and coach, I personally work with women who are sick and tired of being stuck in their bodies, right? I help them not just build healthy habits, but to understand that sometimes in order to boss up and to get into shape, we first need to rewrite the story that lives inside of our subconscious mind. And who better not to have this conversation with the amazing Kaamna? So I couldn't agree more, right? She believes that you can't work on your body without working on your mind, and vice versa. And you can't infuse any of them without paying attention to your spiritual health first. Amen. If you are listening and you really sit well with that, let me know. But anyways, Kaamna works on all three realms, drawing from, a multitude of philosophies, right? No one solution worked for her. So Kaamna had to piece it all together, and I cannot wait to bring her on for this discussion. Kaamna, welcome to the Boss Up Babe radio show, girl.
Woo, thank you. Oh my God, I'm excited now. Woo. All right.
Welcome.
Thank
Now,
you for
first off,
having
before we even dive in, I want you to, of course, tell us your name, because it so beautifully comes out of your mouth.
Thank you. So it's Kaamna Bhojwani Dhawan. It's hyphenated. It's Indian. It's long. I get it. I'm just gonna be Kaamna, like Madonna. Like, I don't understand why I need to futz around with last names. It's fine. Kaamna means desire or wish in Hindi. So we'll stick with that.
I love that. Yeah. And the whole, ditch the last names. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. My husband's active duty, and everyone goes by a last name in the military. They're like, oh, Smith. Right. And I'm like, who is Smith? And they're like, you met him. And I'm like, no, I didn't. There's 1,000 Smiths out there.
Yeah, right. Aren't they all Smiths?
Yeah. I'm like, give me something else to reference on. But anyways, I'm all about first names. And either way, she is a boss up babe. And I'm excited to, hear her story and just to get motivated, empowered, and inspired by her and her energy. So Kaamna, tell me a little bit about your background, right? I want to know how you became this gorgeous boss up babe queen and what it is that you're doing.
Thank you. So I will say that I am at a stage in my life where I am in between
Mm.
everything. And I can say, and this is part of the evolution, I am totally okay with that. In fact, I am fucking loving it. Can I swear on this show?
Let's keep it down. I hate for my, our producers to have to
Okay.
between me and you. Yeah, we'll have
We
to
do a
keep
lot of
it
editing. Okay,
PG.
good.
Yep.
I should have asked you in the beginning, but okay. So and for the first time in my life, I am okay with that because it just sort of feels like you need to take moments. You need to take these moments. A friend of mine calls them strategic stops to kind of reevaluate. So I was on a path, and I did a little bit of a pivot. And at the age of 41, I'm going back to grad school, and I'm studying something that I did not have the opportunity to learn 20 years ago, which is spiritual psychology. And as you mentioned in the introduction, I'm really interested. My background is in psychology, and I'm really interested in the integration of the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional. Because as you said, like you just cannot work
Right.
with that. With one of those being off, they're all off. They're all off.
Mhm.
And especially in the Western world, we've separated them. So
Mhm.
your knee hurts, you go to a physiotherapist, and your brain hurts, and you go to a therapist, and you're feeling. Most people don't even know that they're feeling spiritually deprived, right? They
Right.
typically will like pop a pill or drink a little extra or whatever. So we'll get to that. Um, my prior lives, the avatars of my profession life have been, I live in Silicon Valley, so I've started my own companies. I've been in startups from 5 people small to 50 people small to a full-blown corporation. I don't think I will ever do corporate again. I cannot seem to censor my mouth. So
I
therefore
love
I'm in the entrepreneurial route, which again, like I said, like I'm very happy about where I am because I know all these things about myself now, and I've made friends with them and I've made peace with them. So instead of resisting,
it. Hmm.
we're all just sort of holding hands and taking one step at a time. And sometimes we're dancing through, which is
Yeah.
fun.
I love that. You got to have fun in life. And I remember,
Oh my
in
God.
fact, I think that we met a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, I would say probably 6 months ago. And we were both in a coaching program and she just said such a truth bomb. I don't even know what it was, but I was like, oh my God, I love this chick. We have to connect because she's so real, like I think it was actually honestly about sex where you were like, if we can't have fun and have sex and just talk about things that are awkward for everyone, then what kind of life are we living? And I was like, yes, I love this.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Do you remember something happening in our
Yeah, and
coaching
it
group?
is. That's so where I am now in this in between stage. My outlet, as you mentioned, I'm a performer, I'm a writer, I'm a singer. So I use Instagram and YouTube as my outlet. And really, the tagline was, making you uncomfortable every week. So
Mhm.
I would start talking about things like sexless marriages and whether or not you should have children, because I think here's what I fundamentally believe. I fundamentally believe that each of us comes here with a unique set of gifts. I don't know
Mhm.
about purpose. Purpose sounds like a very big one to me, and I don't know how to get my head around it. But I think that each of us comes here with a set of gifts and talents and skills, and you are doing the entire world, you are doing your lifetime a disservice if you
Mhm.
don't use those gifts
Yes.
and make the world a better place. And I don't mean make the world a better place and go join the Peace Corps, but there's a place for that. There's place for me as a singer and somebody who loves to party. I genuinely believe my ability to like make fun in every situation is a talent and it's a gift.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I'm tired. I grew up in a very conservative culture. I grew up in India. I grew up in a very progressive family in a very conservative
Mm.
culture. But I have lived in the UK and I have lived in the US and I have lived in Australia. And let me tell you, I have met more conservative people there than I did in India. People who are very like, this is the irony. They're like, oh, is this you? Do you talk like this because you've been in America? I was like, oh my God, no, we all talk like this. Um, but my point is that we are all bound as children, and that's why the idea of stories became so interesting to me. We're
Yeah.
all taught these stories and these boxes and these labels, whether it's religion, whether it's culture, and you pick it up in church, or it's something. You watch your parents behave in a certain way, and we take those on. But at some point, as an adult, you need to stop and reevaluate.
Yeah.
Is this true? Does this still serve me? Has this changed? I mean, the world has changed. Like, I didn't have email when I was in high school. That's a completely different ballgame now, even if you look at it from such a superficial thing. So if we're talking about the ability to evolve, if you don't stop and reassess for yourself, then you get stuck in those labels. Then you don't, then you want to have sex, in missionary with the lights on. And who the hell wants to do that? Forever.
I know
Anyway,
we were
once in a while
bringing
is
some
okay.
awesome conversations today. I love it. And you just never know on an interview. You absolutely have no idea where it's going to kind of go. And that's the fun part about it. If I kept it
It's the fun
rigid,
part.
you would feel, it would feel scripty. And I don't want that. I don't want that for my audience either. But I want to go back just a little bit before I kind of dive into more questions, because you said, people don't even realize that the spiritual part of their life is missing. So tell me, how would one how does one even recognize that part is missing in their life?
Well, I'll tell you something. For a lot of us, and again, East, West, spirituality gets woven in with religion. And no matter who you are, everybody has a reaction to religion. Either, I love Jesus, or I'm an atheist, or, Islam produces terrorists. Everybody has a strong reaction, right, wrong, and the spirituality piece is quite the opposite. The spirituality piece is where the calm and the peace comes in. So I think for a lot of people, what I would like to do using my my platforms is to help them tease out that spirituality piece, to take the best of the Zen philosophies and to take the best of the Hindu philosophies and integrate it with what the Christian mystics were talking about, what the indigenous cultures are talking about. And if we in 2021, where we have access to all the world's information, thank you, Google, if we don't, and we pride ourselves as a race, right, for being we're so clever, well, then we should be able to figure this out for ourselves. This should be a priority. And I'll tell you something, for me, I came about it in a roundabout way. Similarly, grew up in India. The religious stuff, like it was icky. Too many fanatics. Girls getting raped, and Hindu leaders being okay with that. It became a very complicated relationship. In my mid-30s, my body started breaking down, and luckily, it wasn't a lot of serious stuff, but it was a lot of small, insignificant, that all added up. So first, I tore ligaments in my hips. Then my shoulder and my wrist and my entire right side. So I started experimenting. And so after doing the whole allopathic stuff, steroid injections, MRIs, PRP, all that kind of stuff, none of it worked.
Yeah.
And I'm a dancer. So, that it really gets you down when you don't, as somebody who works in, when you work with your body and you cannot anymore, it really gets you down. So I really had to think about, what is going on here? Like, my body is trying to tell me something. The MRIs are not finding anything.
Yeah.
That's when I started studying about the relationship between emotion and your physiology. And there's a book called Anatomy of the Spirit, if anybody's interested, by Carolyn Miss. And she literally enumerates each of the chakras from your first chakra and up to physical dysfunction. So when you've got an imbalance in your second chakra, for instance, this is how it shows up. This is how it manifests in your body. And for me, it was like a checklist. Oh yeah, feeling insecure about my financial security. There you go. I had internal fissure. I mean, talk about the universe like tearing you a new one. So it really, all these physical ailments really, and because there was no Western medicine cure for it, and thank God there wasn't, because I would have been stuck. I would have taken the pill and I would have moved on. But here I got to really learn to understand that my body is speaking to me, and what the idea of spirit, and then Eastern medicine for, with yoga and with acupuncture, where they really work with prana and chi, which is your life forces. There's a vitality that is missing. My hair started falling out for no reason other than I was feeling like that lack of vitality.
Yeah.
That lack of that life force. And I'm sorry, I personally, I don't want to spend a second on this planet without like 100% life force. that is my goal for myself. I don't want to be here half.
Yeah, I would agree, right? It's our job to like play big and live full. And there was once a time that I didn't do that and I was totally out of alignment, but I can't agree with you more. Like, your body holds so much wisdom, and it's sad when our bodies have to give us that wake up reality check. Like, it's screaming, whether it's pain or, tension all the days, headaches. Like, it's not just like, take some Advil and call it a day, or you'll always be finding a Band-Aid to fix that crap instead of really getting to the root problem.
Exactly.
I'm curious, right? Because you're like, you have accomplished some amazing things. I mean, if y'all haven't read her full bio, feel free to go check that out. But I believe with every high, there's a low. I don't care where you are. I believe every woman has a journey, a story, a moment of setback, struggle. And, besides COVID, which really allowed us all to kind of take a step back and reevaluate what was important. But so many people, felt stuck in this rut. And I'm sure you have too, not necessarily with COVID, but tell me about one of the biggest hurdles that you've had to overcome in your life, and what did you learn?
Well, so it's funny. So first of all, I believe that everybody's got a lot of stuff going on. I envy no one. It's helped me come to everybody with compassion. I don't care how rich you are, how thin you are, how good looking you are, how successful you are. We're all here learning, and we're all here struggling. And the people who pretend like they don't have problems are probably the ones that are least aware. They're the ones that are going through some serious repression. My big hurdle, one of my biggest hurdles, really has been the last decade, where there's a sense of making conscious decisions in your life, and then there's a sense of just kind of like going, whoa, and that's what I think a lot of us do in our 20s. Like, I was raised to go to the right schools, to marry the right type of man, to have a family, to be in a profession that will give me some status and some money. And you can, like I said, you can plod along the path. Exactly. And for me, that path wasn't working. One of the things, I had 2 kids in my 30s, which was wonderful. They're 10 and 12 now, and they're fabulous. You'll see them all over my Instagram. And we moved a lot of countries, which was fantastic. Like I said, we lived in the UK, we lived in the US. And as much as I value all those experiences, it really took me away from that path. I was like, oh, but I haven't done my career thing. Oh, but this, and I haven't, shit, I haven't bought the right house, whatever. And it really made me reevaluate what I wanted for me. And what happened was, in the spirit, as we do so much as women, and we do so much as mothers, in the spirit of making it easier for everybody else, I just went along with everybody else's decisions. Oh, we should be here because my husband's work is here. Oh, we should do this because, then the kids can go to these classes, and I'll just, wait in the car, or whatever, whatever your version of wait in the car is.
Yeah.
And then when we finally came back, and it just happened to coincide with my turning 40. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't me like being like, oh, I'm going to take this whole decade by the horns or whatever. Although I would like to. I was like, stop the train. Stop the train. I don't want to live in the Bay Area. I've lived in the Bay Area for a long time. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the weather. I don't like how technologically unidimensional it's become. I don't like the homeless situation. There are just too many things about it. And I was sitting there, and for the first 5 years of that decade, I probably just complained and bitched and whined about it.
Yeah.
And then and then the funny thing is, when people start, stepping forward for themselves, it scares other people. So then they're like, oh, what's your problem? Like, you have such a good life. Like, you have such a beautiful house in San Francisco. What are you complaining about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't work for me. So I made a step, and I told my husband, look, I gotta go. I'm not leaving my children. And I want us to be a family unit, but I need to be in warmer weather near the beach. I do. I'm an ocean girl. I wake up a different person. And it's funny how people will call you indulgent when you use your money to do something that's good for you, right? And I'm like, isn't that the exact point of money?
Yeah.
Shouldn't your money be working for you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm very responsible. I save well, blah blah blah. But I'm not taking all this shit to the grave. Like, I want to spend it in my life today, and charity, whatever, all the things. But the idea is that you don't work for your money. Your money should work for you. Right. I really believe that. And as women, we have such a convoluted relationship with money, but when you actually put it out there and be like, no, I'm going to actually put this towards myself. And that's what I did. I invested in a place in Malibu, and I invested in grad school, which was me 100% investing in me. And I think that how you know the difference, because people are like, oh yeah, Malibu and celebrities, and it's about the things that are give you fleeting joy.
Mhm.
Those are all egocentric. Those are not gonna, that's your pill, that's your bottle of wine, they're fun for the moment, but they're not really deep. For me, being near the ocean was the pull. For me, learning spiritual psychology and then hopefully being able to translate it as my life service to a larger audience through my platform, that is the deep soul stuff. So I am so happy and I am so grateful that I've learned the difference between those two things.
Mhm.
You can buy yourself a beautiful car, but you have to it's all about the motivation.
Right.
Are you
Right.
doing it for external reinforcement? Are you doing this for somebody else? And it's the same thing with the transformation in your
Sure.
own body. Whether
Absolutely.
you seek mental health or whether you want to change your workout plan and really own your who you are in your skin. If you're doing it for other people, I don't think it's going to get you very far.
And then, yeah, it doesn't, right? Because there I was 213 pounds, and I thought if I could lose this weight, it would make me happy,
Yeah.
right? I thought if I could get skinny and healthy according to what society, and
Right.
the box that I was put in, like if you want to be healthy and
Yeah.
successful, this is what you need to look like as a woman.
Correct.
But there I was dropping 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, got all the way to 125 skinny mini here. And I was like, where's the happiness? Like,
Right.
where's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
bottle? Why am I not feeling internal peace
That's
and happiness?
yeah.
And that you can't put a price tag on. And if you're listening today, I want you to like seriously take this one to heart. Out of all the nuggets that we've heard, we're going to hear, it's you got to find that happiness. Like say, screw everybody else's like pleasing, quit
Yeah.
people pleasing people, you guys,
Yeah.
and do what makes you happy. I mean, I remember when I left my corporate job, the very first thing that my sister's husband at the time, well, he said, well, why would you do that? Don't you have a really nice job? And I'm like, yeah, but my passion and purpose is over here. It's helping
Correct.
women boss up. And some people just don't even understand it. And I was called crazy. I mean, even my
Uh-huh.
divorce, they're like, isn't your husband like good? Doesn't he support you? And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
but like we are not happy with each other anymore. We have grown apart. And like all these things, but finding your happiness, finding your joy, and it doesn't come with a dollar sign. I mean, what would that look like? Well, when I make my first 100K helping clients, I'll call it a day and retire. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
It doesn't work. We've done
No.
that. We've made those numbers, and we
Yeah.
know that it does matter. It's so funny when you talk about marriage and leaving marriages. I had somebody once say to me, "Hey, as long as he doesn't beat you, it's all good."
Yes.
And I was like, "Can we raise the bar for
Yes.
everyone, for men and for women alike?" I refuse to
Yes.
accept that. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm raising a boy and a girl, and if I'm going to tell my son, "Listen, as long as you don't beat her, it's good," oh my God, like we're
Right. That
doomed.
just doesn't even
We are
sit well.
doomed as a race.
And
No,
that comes back to, the mindset piece. I mean, I literally, that's crazy you said that. When I met my ex-husband, I remember thinking, at least he doesn't beat me. That's crazy, right? That was the bar that I held
yeah,
him to. Yes, was he a
yeah,
great man? Did he support me? Yes, 100%. He never hit me, which was great.
yeah,
But the guy before him, ingrained into my mindset for 4 years that I was worthless, that I was nothing, that I was ugly, and that no
yeah,
one would want me. And all of this BS, he filled that within my head. And
yeah,
that's what I believed was true for many, many years until I
yeah.
found my happiness. I found my joy, my confidence. I found me and I became the best
Yeah,
version of me. And everybody then else has a problem with it. And I'm
yeah,
like, you know
yeah,
what? Go take a hike because this is not your life. I don't see you living in it. I'll spend my money. I'll date who I want to date. I will teach my
yeah,
kids the lessons that I feel are important. So yeah, it's another level that we got to connect on, which is crazy to think.
Well, I
Before we
think
dive
so. So I
in,
will say that. Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Can I just add a point there? I
Yep,
just want to say
go
that
ahead.
sometimes the naysayers, it's complicated, right? Because the people that sometimes the loudest people are the people that love you most, and you're like, why don't you see this my way? And everybody is coming from fear and protection.
Mhm.
That's it. So it takes a lot of courage. So in my mind, in my life, every time I make a big step, my mother freaks out. Right. And I mean, I know she's on my team. So it's about, it's about that little bit of that compassion that I was talking about in the beginning, where she loves me as well. So sometimes the naysayers, sometimes they're just jealous. That is honestly the truth. And sometimes they fear for you. So it's about knowing the difference and working with those people.
Absolutely. Hate is gonna hate, and sometimes the haters are really just hurting themselves and they're trying to
They're just freaked out.
Yeah, they're like, what is happening? Okay, Kaamna, before we kind of blast off with some rapid fire tip, like one tip, I want to know if someone's listening today, where can they connect with you? What's the best platform for them to connect you on?
Yeah, so Instagram is where I'm most active. I have stuff on YouTube as well, and that's both at Kaamna Live, Kaamna, Kaamna Live. I am literally just beginning my master's program in spiritual psychology at Columbia, which I am so excited about. So you'll be seeing bits and pieces of that. If you're interested in, like I say, spirituality, psychology, and SaaS, all of those places, as well as KaamnaLive.com.
I love that. And y'all know I'm going to put that in the BossUp Babe notes so you can find Kaamna whatever platform she's on. So if you're listening to today's show and you're in this place of struggle, right? Maybe you've gained some COVID weight. Maybe you are sick and tired of that same story repeating in your head and you just can't seem to like walk away from it and shift your perspective and identity and just detach, right? Divorce the old story that is not serving you. You could definitely reach out to Kaamna or myself. Now, me personally, I help women lose weight. I help women feel great in their bodies. So they feel sexy and confident. What I do with women, you cannot buy in Walmart or any store or Amazon online. Like literally what you get when you start to become the best version of yourself is happiness and joy and peace and the sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. And that I find is what women really, truly desire. It's not a number on the scale. It's not like a fancy car or anything. So you guys, before I quickly sign off, Kaamna, what is one rapid fire 10-second tip that you would give any woman right now today?
Something I recently heard is the most selfless thing you can do is to heal yourself. And as a woman, I think that's really important because we're always putting ourselves out for other people. But if your bucket is empty, you got nothing for anybody else. So work on yourself, put yourself first, and then you'll be able to take the place in the world. We need you. We need you to be your strongest, best self.
Oh my God, golden nugget, drop the mic right there. Thank you for leaving us with such an amazing insight. I'm going to drop those keys, everything that I heard into those show notes again. So if you are listening, thank you so much. If you enjoyed today's BossUp story, her tips, her expert advice, in case you missed any part of today's live episode, you can of course head over to your favorite platform where you can stream the replay right in your car, whether it's on the stair climber or walking that dog around the house. You can listen to it and catch it. Kaamna, thank you so much for being my guest today. I appreciate all of your time.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, Karissa.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the BossUp Babe radio show with Karissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Karissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.